Hello everybody, my name is Neil Reardon and this is a video for Customer Portal, a new feature available to supply chain management under Dynamics 365. What we're going to do is we're going to basically do the setup to create a customer portal, and then we're going to place an order. So let's get into what we're going to see today. So as you can see from the agenda, we've got a number of things we're going to do today. We're going to create a customer portal. We're going to create an account and a contact in supply chain management. We're then going to use that contact to send an invitation from the portal to that person to join. We're going to redeem that invitation and then basically create a user account. We're then going to use that user account to place an order, and we're then going to pick, pack and dispatch all of those things in a CM. So that's today. So let's start as we always do by going to Microsoft Docs. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go and start from Microsoft Docs. Microsoft Docs is your single source of truth for all of the product information now. So go to Dynamics 365, and as you can see, the family of the products under Dynamics 365 is ever growing. But we're going to pay special attention to the supply chain management piece. Scrolling down, we'll come into here and we're looking for sales and marketing, and then we're looking for customer portal with Dynamics 365 supply chain management. Inside this we'll find the customer portal overview. Now we're on this page, I think it's important to note that there are some prerequisites to this whole piece of work. So if we scroll down here, what we need to do is make a special note to the prerequisites for this whole piece of work. And one of those prerequisites is the fact that you have set up dual write for use inside your environment. If you haven't done that yet, then you need to stop here. Feel free to look at my series on dual write setup, but only continue if you have done that piece of work. So as we leave this, I just want to please request that you do read each of these sections in Docs to make sure you're familiar with all the extra setup scenarios that I might not cover in here, but you will need to actually carry out this work. But let's go into Power Apps now and start the process of creating a new portal. So I've made sure I'm in the right CDS environment before I start this, and I'm going to go to the Create option. Now in here we scroll down to Templates, and you will find a new template called the Customer Portal Preview. On clicking on this template, it will ask you for a name, an address and a language to use. Now I'll fill these out so you can see them, but the reality is you only allow one per CDS environment. And I already have one set up which we're going to use later. But I would just name this here, and then I would just give it a URL. So I'll just date it to make sure that nothing happens in terms of stopping. It would do a check for the URL that you're going to use to access the customer portal, and then obviously the language, and you choose Create. What will happen, that will then create, and the provisioning is very quick. You'll be provisioned within a couple of minutes. So now what we can do is we can go back to the home section, and you will find that we have now our portal set up in our list of apps. So in order to get into the app now, we just click on it here and it will open up. Now as you can see, it's not particularly pleasant to look at the moment. That's because this is the template straight out of the box. In a later video I'm going to show you what is possible from a styling perspective, but we're going to work with exactly the same template that comes out of the box for the rest of the video. Now the key now is to make sure that we can get someone to connect to it. So when you go to sign in, this is what you're presented with, the standard portal sign in page. And we have two main options really. One, we can have set someone up in our Active Directory as an external account and they can actually log in via that mechanism, or we have to invite someone or have set them up in our portal admin center in order to get them in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to step through the invitation process to invite a customer into the portal. But in order to do that, I need an account and a contact record, and so I'm going to create one in finance and operations. So I'm going to use the company GBSI for this. Now the reason I'm doing it here and going to sales and marketing and then going to all customers and not in, say, SE or CE is because not all the people who are going to use this functionality will have those front of house systems. So therefore I'm going to do it this way, and also I can show the power of dual rights at the same time. So we're going to choose new to start a new customer account, and I'm going to create a new customer account. It's going to be B2B portal account the load 2. Now obviously the customer account could well be predefined in your installation. I'm just doing this to make them really recognizable for me. So B2B account the load 2. Yep, so no one's like that, and I'm just going to choose a customer group, and once again we're just using Contoso data here to actually do all this, so nothing particular. I've got the country region of GBR. I'm not going to fill out any more of the information for the customer here, so I'm just going to save this. So there's my customer created, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll down here, and there's a couple of settings I'm just going to put on to make my life easier, and potentially you would put as part of the normal process of your actual implementation potentially. So I'm just going to call out the site and the warehouse. I'm just going to choose main office, and then onto the warehouse main office as well. There we go. Right, so that's fine. So that's my customer all done. And what I'm going to do now is create a contact record for that customer. So now I've got this contact record. I'm just going to fill out the name and the last name. And I'm going to go down here, and the main thing here is we have to get an address record. So I'm just going to say office, and the main value here that we have to have is this country region code. I don't actually need anything else, but I'm going to put something in. So my place, and that's in somewhere. We're going to choose OK. Now the reason we have to have this country region code is that it's actually utilized on the contract record when we're adding the product to the sales order in the customer portal. And if you don't have it, I will demonstrate it later, you're going to get a certain error, and you just need to dive into what that is. So now I've got my contact there, all is done. So I'm ready with F&O. So what I'll do is I'll just step out to the top screen, and now we're ready to send the invitation. So I'm going to go off, and I'm going to go to sales and marketing. I'm going to all customers. Choose my B2B portal customer here. Just jump into the view contacts. Just go in the quicker route. And then once in this contact here, I'm just going to open them up. And I need to set an email address. So type in email, change this from phone to email address, and I'm just going to put in a fictitious email for this one. So it's going to be bob@smith.com. Now massively important here, I must tick this box. If I tick this box, it means that DualRight will pick it up and will send it. If I don't tick this box and you wonder why you don't get your email address, that will be why. So now we've got the contact, we're going to create the invitation, and to do that we have to go back to Power Apps. Now in Power Apps you will find under your apps portal management, and this is created when you load in the Power Apps portal function to your CDS environment. Now if I scroll down, you'll find contacts. Now this contact here is one from an earlier testing thing, but if I just drop this down to active contacts, and what we've got here, oh, we've got bobs@smith.com. So that's just the speed that the dual write works at. So that is already set up and ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Bob Smith, and I'm going to create an invite for him. And this will be the invite to bring him into the customer portal. Now there's a number of options on here. I can put an expiry date, I can put the inviter, and I can do several things such as assign him to an account. Now we obviously had accounts before, so I've got B2B, and as you can see here, this is the customer account in finance and operations that I created. So I'm just going to choose that. Technically they're already linked, but I do this piece anyway. So I'm going to save that. Now importantly, when you save it, you see this new section has opened up here called Assign to Web Roles. Now this is required if you want the person to actually be able to do anything on the customer portal, and there's a number of roles that come as standard. So if I choose Add to Existing Web Role, you'll see the first one, because it's a recent one, is Customer Representative. If I look at all the records, I've got these. Now what do these do? Well, I'm going to choose Customer Representative for the moment and apply. But if you go to Docs, what you'll find is a full breakdown of what they are. The Customer Representative is basically the person who can view all the orders from all the people for that company who has access to the B2B portal. So it's a pretty serious account. So now I've done that, I'm now going to go, I'll just save that again just to double check, and I'm going to go to the flow option. And on clicking this, I'm going to send the invitation. And there we go, the invitation has been sent. Now you'll notice I've moved from contacts to invitations when I was doing that work. So let's just step back to the invitation. So here we go, we have this invitation and we have the invitation code, which is the main thing that the person will need to gain access to the site, and that has been sent to the email address. Now let's just take this from the perspective of I've received the email. So I'm going to take the invitation code, which is the most important thing to me, which is this big horrible number, and we can actually look at it in a little bit more detail here. If I drill in and I look at the advanced section here, I can see the invitation code, so I can actually fully copy it properly. So I'm going to take that invitation code and I'm going to go back as if I was a person coming to this who's received the invitation. I'm going to go to redeem invitation, and I'm going to put in the invitation code. Now of course I don't have an existing account as far as I, the user, is concerned who's received this email, so I'm now going to register. And as you can see here, it's recognised my email address and has asked me for a username. So I'm going to call myself well, Test Bob Smith. And I'm going to give it a password. Now if you try to get funny with this and just basically put a couple of A's in there and try to register, it will throw you an error and ask you for a fully qualified password, as you can see here. So I'm going to put a proper password in here. There we go. And now I'm going to register. And here I am. As you can see along the top, I've now got some changes because I'm actually a logged in user now. I've been given some information around my email, title, website nickname, some profile information, and a preferred language I could choose, as well as then my contact preference scenario. That is now provided me with access into Portal for a recognised customer account in finance and operations. So let's get on and make an order. If we go to the home screen, you'll see it's changed from the initial view, and I now have a number of tiles indicating the order cycle. So let's go to the create order. Now here we go at the start of the ordering process. Now I've got the normal things that you would expect to see, so when would I like it, when would I want it to ship, and then I have a title here called delivery address. So normally you would think, I might enter some information here, but actually it's not. It's the delivery name on the sales order header, and I'll show you this a bit later. But I'm going to change this to Bob Smith, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a requisition number in, and I'm going to put an order reference in. So that's just going to be test 003. Now the ship to country region is once again interesting because that's actually the full address. So my place, and then I'm just going to put somewhere, and then that's going to be England, and then it's GBR, and I'm going to choose next. Now we're into the point where we're going to add products into our basket. So when I choose add item, what it's going to do, it's going to look at all of the products that are in the CDS at the moment that may or may not be sent from F&O. So as you can see here, I have lots and lots of products. One thing to note at the moment, out of the box, I haven't found anyway that this is restricted by the legal entity or the business unit of my user Bob Smith. So he's actually seeing all of the things from all of the companies. So what I'm just going to do here is I'm going to choose my hardware tablet, which is what I'm going to use, and it picks up the unit of measure from F&O that was transferred to produce dual write, and I'm just going to put one of those in my basket. Interestingly enough, line status is left open. Obviously you would want to change that, and I'm just going to process that. Now what it's doing when it tries to save is actually it's doing real-time movements of data into F&O and almost using the save cycle there. So therefore, if there's any errors, it's because actually the data wasn't able to be written into finance and operations. But this one's been able to be entered, so that's all good. So then I'm going to go next, and then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to complete the order. So that order is now completed, and you can see that I have the lines at the bottom here. So let's go and see what this looks like in finance and operations. So up here, and I'm going to go back down, I'm just going to go into accounts receivable for this one and go into all sales orders. As we can see here, we now have a sales order called B2B portal account, and it's got a big horrible order number. Now if I go and just quickly go back to my view order details, and I look at my order number here, ORD 0015 G2L B3, and there we go. So that's just showing the link between the two. If I drive into this, now as you can see here, I've got a bit of a joy around the name as now Bob Smith, so not the delivery address. And my address actually is MYS for some reason. Not sure why that is there. I have two delivery address records, and then I have the line here. Now when I actually created the account, you would have noticed that I set up the site and warehouse. However, the site and warehouse has not been auto-populated onto this line. As you can see there, it prompts me for the unit price and updates and fills in this, and actually now I get the proper amount for my tablet, which we weren't seeing actually on the piece there. So now that's done, I can actually confirm that sales order. So if I actually go confirm sales order, and I just go straight through the confirmation step, that's absolutely fine. And there's the order confirmed. So going back here now, if I go back to my home screen, if I have a look under view confirmed orders, I can now see my order is of the state confirmed. So we're actually seeing the life cycle of the order as it moves through F&O being reflected into the portal. So what I'm going to do is I'm just basically going to fudge the pick pack process for speed. And then I'm going to invoice it as well. So I can just take it all the way through and you can see the final state in the order life cycle. So that has been picked and packed, and now I'm just going to invoice it. And I'm just going to get straight to OK. So that order's now been invoiced. So going back to here, we go back to home, go to view invoiced orders, and there we go. We have our invoiced order that is carrying a confirmed shipping date of in the past, only because I didn't set the date, because obviously I was doing a quick fudge. But there we go, there is the order, and that has the correct amount as well. I can view a bit more details and drive into that, and just to see the estimated net amount there as well. Right, so let's just go back to the home, and let's just summarize what we've seen in this video today. So there we are, we've reached the end of the video, and hopefully what you've seen is the creating of a customer portal, the creating of an account and a contact in SCM, which then will move, thanks to dual write, into the CDS and be available, the sending of an invitation via the admin area or portal, then the redeeming of that invitation on the customer portal as per the user experience, the creation of the account, the creation of an order using customer portal, the pick pack dispatch very quickly in SCM, and then seeing the finalized state of that order in the customer portal.